Well, thank you very much for still being there with us on Kakaaki, the African Voice. Let's find out what the papers are reporting this 31st of May 2021. Lemmy Ughegbe is here with us in the studio. Lemmy, welcome.
Good morning.
Lemmy, welcome. It's good to have you.
And we also have Chris Nwadu, who joins us on Zoom. Chris is an online publisher. Chris, how are you? Good morning.
Thank you very much for having me. Good morning. Hope you had a nice weekend.
Great. All right, let's run through the front pages first, and then we'll have your thoughts on the bigger stories of the day.
Absolutely, Utibe, and Daily Sun is going first. And of course, the story on Gulak seems to lead manhunt for killers of APC chieftain Gulak. Police says ex-presidential aides set out for airport without security escort. And then second rider says Northern youths give Uzodinma 2 weeks to fish out corporates. Another one you want to have a go at there is the bottom page story about the presidency. Says Nigeria will die if we don't restructure. Southern Middle Belt leaders tell Buhari wants 2023 presidency zoned to south.
All right, let's find out what the Vanguard is reporting. Okay, some business news on the front page as well. Something about the economy. Controversy emerges over NBS Q1 2021 GDP statistics. Growth not reflective of real sectors' realities, as the LCCI there. And it's not supported by our index, Manufacturing Association of Nigeria. So double knocks for the NBS report. We want to read the details in the paper. 2023 drop amendments give Nigerians new constitution. Southern Middle Belt leaders speaking there on page 5 to read details to that story.
Well, the Daily Asset says bandits abduct 200 Islamia school students in Niger. Gunmen abduct Nasarawa Assembly member. 14 Greenfield varsity students regain freedom. I'm sure that's after 40 days. And then bottom page story tells you Army sacks 3,040 over hard drugs, rape, other offences. Shites drag Brutai ex-IGP to UN. NDLA boss syndicate in Ondo State.
Daily Trust is leading with Gulak's assassination sparks outrage. That's what the paper has tagged it. It's an assassination, according to the Daily Trust. Police kill 6 IPOB members over attack. Southeast governors demand probe. Ex-presidential aide buried in Abuja. Of course, the photo front page picture there just tells you everything. There was what appeared to be a dawn prayer session held for him at the Abuja mosque there, and a very, very gloomy story indeed. Pages 5-6 for the details. Many students abducted as bandits attack Islamia school in Niger State.
And the Nigerian Tribune says restructure now or see Nigeria die. Southern Middle Belt leaders won, and say want Southern politicians to shun post apart from presidency in 2023. Oppose use of federal state resources for cartel business. You find that on page 30. What you also want to look at is the story on tension in Southeast over IPOB sit-at-home order, considering the Remembrance Day, and that's on page 8. Stay at home if you wish, no more penalties, Umahi tells traders.
The People's Daily: Buhari is angry, sad over Gulak's murder. Northern group frowns at killing as another INEC office raised in Imo State. Also, University of Abuja expels 46 students over misconduct.
A Nigerian News Direct: Southeast boys, gunmen murder Gulak Jonathan's advice, and that's coming to you on page 3. Destroy INEC, bomb immigration office. Gulak's killers will not escape justice, and that's coming from the president. But let's look at that 2 years in office. Abiodun scores administration high on page 7, and that's coming from the Nigerian News Direct.
The Nigerian pilots: Nigeria will die. If you want to find out what that big if is, go through the kickers to that story, about 4 of them. One of it saying urge Buhari to address Nigerians and various challenges facing the country. On page 4 for the details. NDDC board: Tom Polo issues 7-day ultimatum to FG. Story on page 6.
And the Daily Times: outrage over murder of Jonathan's ex-aide Gulak Utibe. I think this will go with the lead for most of the newspapers. And then you also find their bottom page story: airport decay. ATCs expose rot in Nigeria's airports. Control towers say air traffic chiefs. And that's on page 3.
As inflation bites harder, food crises, Nigerians lament untold hardships as prices of gari, yam and other staple foods hit the roof. How to Tame the Monster, Economist, and pages 4 and 24 of the paper. That's This Nigeria.
And The Nation, uproar over more killings, abductions in Oyo, Imo. And you find other writers of that story. Buhari perpetrators won't go unpunished. 30 killed in Ebonyi Benue boundary. And that's the writers of that story. But let's also look above the masthead. And you find the varsity workers seek licensed guns for operation. Interesting.
All right, let's see the Punch newspaper. States bank on PPP projects as cash crunch bites harder. States afraid of negative effect of mass retrenchment on 2023 political agenda. We're doing PPP already. Some projects are financed by World Bank, says Ekiti, and will fish out ghost workers. Bauchi, we're cutting down overheads and Nugu. What else do we have on the front page of the paper here? Rising debt service cost weighing on FG's revenue. That's PricewaterhouseCoopers on page 23.
And this is Daybreak. Daybreak says bandits abduct 200 students in Niger State. They've gone with that as the broad lead story there. One person shot dead, another seriously wounded during operation. We are in touch with parents in the area to know those whose children were abducted. SGF Niger State government says there. But another story you might also want to look at, causes of just killings are multifaceted, and that's an interview on page 12 as well as other stories on the front page.
The Authority newspaper is leading with Gulag's killing. IPOB denies involvement in former presidential aide's killing as Buhari mourns. Also reporting 20 killed as herdsmen attack Ebonyi communities. Read the story on page 3.
Sad. Well, new Telegraph, danger looms as 135 Brazil, Turkey, India inbound passengers escape from isolation, and that's looking at COVID-19. Right, it says Lagos goes after fleeing passengers, dangles 5-year jail term on absconding travelers, begins second dose of vaccination on page 3.
Leadership newspaper, insecurity escalates in southeast. Gunmen kill 30 villagers in Imo. Of course, the story on Gulag is also part of the kicker to that story.
But Business AM, Nigeria's oil countdown as NNPC sees $10 billion fresh investment, $780 million revenues, and you find 12-year dispute cost parties $9 billion in contingent liabilities. That's coming from Business AM this morning.
All right, let's discuss the issues. Lemmy is here with us in the studio, and on Zoom we have our friend Chris Nwadu. Chris, I think I'll start with you this time. Your state Imo back in the news again, and yet again for the wrong reasons. The killing, brutal murder of Gulag, former presidential aide, was what dominated the news on Sunday, stretching over this Monday. Quick reaction to that.
It's quite unfortunate what is going on. When we look at the situation that's on ground, let's start with the issue of the killings in Imo State of former presidential aide, which was quite unfortunate. Good at least to say that they've arrested or they've killed those being that act. But it's only going to show the level of insecurity in the country. All the indices are that Nigeria now is a total state, whether we like it or not. Even if those are in authority to believe that, all this in a state of anarchy, where life is so cheap and brutish, where people's like just not sick, you just go around and people just get you and the rest of them. We're also talking about killing about 30 people or 20 killed in Ebonyi. So yesterday, we're also talking about the 200 students that were in Niger State also yesterday. So it shows the state of insecurity in the country, and as much as we continue to shout, the federal country said industry, the sun, everybody was living all is well. Because we're not just it's where we continue having Nigerians killed the daily basis, then got this rest of them. Just look at a few days ago, before students, the many of Green University where it is. And you have the parents, they paid 108 million naira for the release of the children and added with 8 father. And that speak was that it goes to tell you that things falling apart and the center no, just as they said in the book, things fall apart. Things are totally falling apart in Nigeria, and it seems the center is not holding it all as it were, and that to me is very disturbing. But then in this case, definitely there will be a total down today because of the direction by IPOB that there should be movement and we should stay in. A report coming from the start is that everybody seems to be looking at agitations on the rise. I don't even know to start from where to stop. The situation is so terrible that just what we now is leadership, which we are not seeing from our president, and that speaks volume. A situation where insecurity is on the rise. Definitely, economy no grow. You cannot grow an economy based a situation of security. No, there will be no investment. Nobody from outside will be part of your economy. And even the two that we are trying to generate, we can do. So it is a wake up to our list that just it was 6 years of this administration. And when at the court, they said did I practically caused a situation 0.1, and it was like, but no, that is just situation. We are also in 2021 than we in 2020.
All right.
And whether you're going like or not, that is the institution on ground. Some just have to, the president just have make sure that he put his thing up, make sure he gets out of this situation, and it's just unfortunate.
All right, Chris, thank you so much. Let me come to you. I mean, the Gulag story seems to be the lead across all newspapers, and then you've had another other conversation, IPOB coming out to deny involvement in the killings, and I know that as of this morning there were, military presence almost everywhere in the major city centers in Owerri, from Niger to Ughegbe Road to Imsu Roundabout and some other places. But what's your take on this lead, especially with the insecurity across states?
Well, it's really very unfortunate that what we have over the weekend, especially after celebrating 6 years of the current administration, President Buhari's assumption of office, 6 years now, what we have in Nigeria today is sorrow, tears, and blood. Unfortunately, again, part of why we don't seem to be able to arrest this growing insecurity is the fact that the government seems to be paying a lot of lip service. At some point they would even say that things have improved from 2015. But fortunately now we probably will get a reaction, a better reaction now, because if you notice, before now it's been the ordinary person who's been endangered. We can see, for instance, the story of the Greenfield students. A few weeks ago, the National Assembly and some state governors were mooting the idea of even convicting people who pay ransom. Okay, and we have a situation where the Greenfield students, their parents were left to their own devices to find a way to solve this problem. You cannot genuinely keep people in keep hostages for this length of time if our intelligence agencies are working well. I remember that Sheikh Gumi, who is making his own sort of intervention in this whole issue, seemed to at least be giving us credible intelligence from discussions he's been having with these people. Yet our people, our security agencies, will not be able to go there. Coming to the Gulag thing, I'm worried about the Southeast. The Southeasterners that I know are typically not the sort of people who want to set their own home ablaze. So I see beyond all of this shenanigan and the fact that we are in a hurry always to just label IPOB. Remember, this same administration, while all over the world Boko Haram had been described and declared a terrorist organization, the administration was very slow and taciturn on making genuine comments about Boko Haram, but they rushed to declare IPOB such. Again, there's been an attempt to make sure that this is put, the killing of Gulag is put on the IPOB's table, and IPOB has come out clearly to say they are not. We do not know the truth, but what I want to enjoin security agencies is, let's try to be open-minded when we lead investigations. If we begin to play politics with even our rhetorics and statements when things like this happen, we'll run into the trouble of not being able to know where the rain started beating us in order to know how to patch our roofs. So it's concerning, it's of grave concern. And remember, Gulag is a big man, okay? Sad is gone in such an inglorious manner, and our condolences must go to his family. However, remember, for every one Gulag whose death is announced, when beggars die, there are no comments seen. Heaven itself blazes forth the deaths of princes. For every one Gulag that has died and has been so publicized, there are thousands of Nigerians, ordinary Nigerians, whose lives also matter, that have been killed without any news heralding it. So it's a grave concern, and we must urge the president. The reason majority in 2015 went after voting Buhari was because at some point Nigerians were tired of insecurity under Goodluck Jonathan's administration, which is it's not the damage today is not comparable to what we had under Jonathan. But we were so tired, we were so smothered that we reached out for Buhari, knowing his background as a general, knowing how much he had done in the past in this regard. But today it is sorrow, tears and blood. Where will ordinary parents get 180 million naira from with 10 motorbikes? All of these things are delivered,
and we're still talking about the 200 girls that were just abducted in Niger, boys.
Yeah, remember, but let me, you know, it's quite interesting that the police moved in so swiftly in the case of Imo, and all of a sudden they killed six people and injured about 4, which is quite, I mean, it's impressive that the police can react so quickly over a murder that took place in the morning. But you try to mention what the different angles to the story. IPOB saying it is not responsible for it. Initially, the police were circumspect about mentioning who is responsible, but later on came out. But incidentally, I've gone through that release, and I haven't seen any names indicated there of those who have been either arrested or killed. There are no names whatsoever. The initial information we got when this story broke was that, you know, these persons accosted the vehicle that Gulag was traveling in. Apart from the person who pointed Gulag to them, the rest were not speaking Igbo. That was the information we had. They were speaking a strange language. And Gulag, the person pointed Gulag, and the person Gulag was shot dead. Now, there was another person in the car who was escorting Gulag to the airport, and the person screamed in Igbo and prayed, "God help me and save me." And somehow he was within spared, and the driver was spared as well, and they just picked him out, shot him, killed him, and then moved on. So there's still so many unanswered questions around this puzzle, isn't it? Yeah.
Remember again, they said Gulag left the hotel without his security details.
Yes.
Which already suggests that he knew something, or some people were after him, because how would you leave the people you have brought in to secure you?
Probably might have been a case of trying to travel without creating too much attention to himself. You know, because these days, if you carry security operatives with you, it clearly exposes you as a big man and makes you a target.
Again, that's part of why I get concerned when there's so much we major in the minor and minor in the major. Remember when the Kaduna celebrated the release of about 100 female soldiers to the Abuja-Kaduna road, I said it was putting the soldiers in harm's way. 1. 2, when you have to travel with military security personnel now, they wear muftis. They don't even need to be loud. So I really see no sense in being loud at a time like this. But you cannot move around the southeast now. And I'm concerned. It's easy for people to immediately zero in on IPOB, on everything that goes wrong. I am concerned that there is a big ploy quietly to destabilize the southeast. Of course, as the Yorubas will say, kokoro to nje efo, inu efo lowa, the hand that eats or destroys the vegetable lives within. You would understand that there will be some people from the inside who are aiding this, but I see external aggression. I see a lot beyond IPOB in most of these insecurities, especially if you know the sociology and behavior of the average Igbo man. He wants his businesses secure. He will not ordinarily go burning police stations.
And INEC offices.
Okay, and INEC offices.
But on the other hand, Lemmy, remember when the underwear bomber Mutalab went into an aircraft?
Yes.
And he was arrested and he made international headlines. Remember what Dora Kuyili then, she was the Minister of Information. She came out to say this is not Nigeria. No Nigerian would ever do this. At that point, it can happen in Nigeria. But count the years back forward and see where we are now.
A lot. If you also follow the Abdul Mutalab story, with respect to his family, if you follow the story, Abdul Mutalab was left really no intentional parenting, sending kids abroad and sending them to different places without first of all helping to build the value system. The boy was a loner, was lonely, was there, and they had the opportunity, the ISIS and co, to work on his mind. And it calls parents to order. There must be intentional parenting, otherwise what we have right now is going to be child's play. I remember the younger ones are never really that afraid to take those kind of radical steps.
I think we have to bring in Chris.
Yes, Chris, let's bring you in here. I mean, you've heard what Lemmy has been saying. He talked about, what this means for the rest of the Southeast and, of course, across Nigeria with the level of insecurity. But in terms of investigation and as arrests go, do you think that the right strategy has been employed by the security and the military in the way that some of those boys or young people are being taken off the streets?
Well, first of all, if you look at the statement issued by the police this morning on the killing of the alleged killers of Gulag, specific and saying it was IPOB, ESN again, they went as far in that they were killed at a somewhere around the Sierra. That was lean of a truck loaded with onions that intercept that truck, and people were just having a few days, and they engaged them and they were killed. But just let me say, shouldn't be tricked as far as security is in laying names on people or individuals all over the world. Forensic investigation takes. And that takes time. There also other level of investigation. But we just caught and said, oh, you pigeonhole yourself by just narrow yourself just a particular angle. Don't forget, so there be so many instances our security agents are quickly hard to say, oh, it's a particular person or individual and in most clients, the security investigation before cut with the statements. That I asked them to come out to statement for them, they can't stop them. That notwithstanding, my on this side, we are having such challenges, especially SAT now. SAT is become the hotbed of this sector in Nigeria. Longer even did not well. It has to be SAT. Terrorism based on the high officers have been put down. And people being seriously. Also led that and this thing in command was so killed, and those to level of safety. And if whatever you need, you take now.
All right, it appears we are having some interference at Chris's end there. Let's move on from this one and talk about the Southern and Middle Belt demands they are making. They met in Abuja. They came out with a communique. Chief Ike Clark was there. Beatrice Pogu, the secretary of the group, was also there, and other notable Nigerians, coming at a time when, you know, so much is happening, threatening the country's existence. And they're saying, look, this jamboree, essentially, of constitutional review is just a waste of time. Sit down, call Nigerians together, build a new constitution. In fact, their reference point is the 1960 Independence Constitution. They've also said the president addressed the nation at a time where there's so much crisis. You hardly feel any sense that the president is alive and well to his responsibilities. That's what they're saying. So address the nation. But this is not the first time we're hearing these demands, Lemmy. I don't know what difference this will make, in fact, to change the president's, you know, governance style in a period of crisis.
I'll tell you my very personal view of the president and what you call his style. For the president to act the way he's acted in the last 6 years, for me, it demonstrates a leader, or a ruler rather, who has contempt for the Nigerian people. There is nowhere on earth that there will be this amount of sorrow, tears and blood, and a true leader will not want to rally his people together, bring them together under one umbrella, speak with empathy and re-inspire national cohesion. This president does not have any interest in doing that. Remember, repeatedly, even when Obasanjo led the narrative boldly to describe him as clannish and very ethnic, the president and his minders will come to attack. But whenever somebody is removed from office who is a southerner, who replaces him? A northerner will be the replacement. There is so much inequity, and that it will take a lot. I don't know how the president wants to begin to retrace the steps. But in a country where we say it's democratic, in a country where we say the voice of the people must be heard and respected, we do not have a president who respects the feelings and aspiration of the Nigerian people. Remember, part of why I loved Atairu so much, the late chief of army staff, was because even as a soldier we should not show emotion. He had a way of showing us that he respected the wishes and the feelings of the Nigerian people, and even as a soldier he inspired us with well-measured language with the right level of emotion, and it made Nigerians to do a 360 turnaround from criticizing the fact that the president appointed a northerner again as chief of army staff. Nigerians turned around so quickly within a matter of 1 or 2 weeks, because they listened to him and they saw. And remember, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaketh. If Femi Adesina says the president's style is not to speak to the people, what does that say? It shows that the president does not respect the people enough to actually express, speak to them. And we talked about the demands made by the about the constitution. Let me say again, if men be good, government cannot be bad. Now, Shakespeare said, I'd rather my broken sword use than my bare hands. As bad as the constitution is said to be, if Nigerians and leadership is true to constitution, what the letters and the spirit say, will not be in the quagmire that we are in.
Let me break into your thoughts here and go over to Chris before we say our goodbyes to him. Chris, I do not know if you follow the story on New Telegraph on the COVID-19 story. Says danger looms as 135 Brazil, India, Turkey-bound passengers escape from isolation. That is also a danger signal, very troubling. How do you look at that?
That's a very dangerous end. And those in charge, when they say they escape isolation, is it that we have a place and nobody's going after there, there's no level of security and the rest of them? That is the way we do things and the level with which we act in governance. a situation where people, ordinarily, so many countries of the world, if you travel now, because of the new rise in COVID, you are isolated. What is happening in India and other parts of the world. So if it's taken that anybody that's into Nigeria is stay in isolation for time before they are allowed to go, then our authority or those that charge should be able to do that. Then how that, where you said at 1:30, that is a line. And I was at the airport this ago, and I saw the protocols being put in place for those coming in, those also traveling. Yes, good enough, but also there's some kind of hanky-panky part of our security agents or in charge, where some undercurrent, underhand deals on for them. So, and I remember recently, federal government issued a warrant of arrest for a certain number of people, and also the visas grant certain sample, and so I bet we should follow this. Because this is not portray in good light before the countries of the world. There are 135 people escaped isolation. Is difficult to understand. All right, and whether like it or not, the COVID is still very, very around us, and people are dying.
Let's look for caution. That's the point. Thank you so much, Chris, for your time. Apparently, that's how much we have time for. I want to say thank you so much to you, Chris, for joining us on Newspaper Review. Lemmy, thank you so much for being here as well. Of course, the second phase of the vaccination continues for COVID-19. We only had 4 million, less than 4 million doses, and over 200 million population. I don't know how far we'll go on that one. But thank you all the same for your time here.
Thank you, Lemmy.
Have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Well, don't go anywhere. Our interview segment continues in a moment, and we'll be right back after this short break. Do stay with us.